We're back, everybody, and we're talking about the R word on My Two Cents right now. It's relationships. You know it. I'm here with my co-hosts, Bryonn Bain and Keith Boykin, as well as our special guest who wrote No More Drama, Sil Lai Abrams. Welcome back. I have been asking for this segment all day. Relationships. Is a failed relationship something that we can correlate with the failure to love ourselves? I think it is. I think we put too much emphasis. Obviously, I'm a little eager here. I put too much. I think, yes. I mean, I need the doctor. I need some therapy. I really do. But I think we put too much emphasis on allowing others to make us feel whole and complete us. And I don't know whether it starts with the little girls who used to rush up to me and say, "Mrs. Hall, Joey won't put his coat on. He didn't eat lunch." And I'm like, what do you care? If he wants to be cold, let him be cold. I think it's this mentality we begin with, especially as women, where we feel like we've got to be complete by loving someone else.
I definitely think a healthy sense of self is important to enter into any healthy relationship. Khalil Gibran has this wonderful passage about the pillars of the column, or the pillars in the temple standing apart and holding up better because of that, because they're separate.
Yes.
And I think that's important, that you have a sense of, you can be by yourself and be comfortable. At the same time, I also think the flip side of it is relationships are work,
Yes.
And you can't sleep on that. It's like it doesn't just work because, you say we're going to be together. You got to put in the time and make the effort. And not that I always do that, because I've been, I've been wrong for, no. I mean, we all fall short of what we strive for, but I'm still working on it. But you have to acknowledge that the work has to be put in if making it work out is something you really want to happen.
When I think about this whole thing about loving yourself first, I always think about what Jesus says in the Bible. It says you should love your neighbor as yourself, and you can't love your neighbor as yourself if you don't love yourself. And I think that comes into play a lot of times for people who have been taught not to love themselves. I think, for example, like with gay male relationships and lesbian relationships too, where people are you don't have any structure that tells you you should love yourself, so it's difficult to create relationships that will last in that context. But at the end of the day, I always think about what Oprah says. And I always come back to Oprah, but Oprah says that she doesn't believe in failure because it's not failure if you enjoyed the process. So if you learn something from it, you really don't have. You get something out of the relationship. It's not necessarily a failure if there's something you learn from it. You learn not to do that again, if nothing else.
But people become suicidal when relationships, and there's so many emotions that are wrapped up in and memories of, particularly relationships. And I think if you don't have something to hold on to in your own life, there were some rules that I read about, do you call a guy or do you not? And I thought it was funny because it sort of applies to this topic. And it was saying that, you need to keep yourself busy, be preoccupied, have your own life. Some rules of thumb, right? That, you probably learned at the age of 12, but they so transcend who we are now. Because if you don't have your stuff, you can sit around waiting for somebody else to complete it.
Well, there's, in my book, one of the things that I talk about is what is love? How do you define love? I can speak for myself, for the majority of my life. What I thought was love, it wasn't love. It was dependence. It was attachment. There's something missing in me, and you're going to give it to me. And if you don't give it to me willingly, maybe I'll try and extract it, Wow. And so you're right. The first relationship you have is with yourself. And, in this day and age, this notion of romance, that's really what lots of folks are on. I'm going to get a high off of how you make me feel. That's a relationship. And when it stops feeling good, then I'm out.
It's disposable.
But even when you are in the relationship, after you've already agreed to have this relationship, you still have to take care of yourself first in the relationship.
Absolutely.
I don't think people realize that. They think, well, you have to let your partner consume you, and you have to be there to support each other, but you have to take care of yourself in the relationship.
But it's interesting because I'm not sure that that's how, if you, went into a room and you said, okay, I'm going to have perhaps a group of married women over here and a group of married men over here, and you said you're anonymous, tell me, do you feel like you take care of self first? I cannot tell you how many women I would guess would say in that room, absolutely not on any given day. I, of course, may fix my hair, get out of bed. I'm not depressed necessarily, but let's be realistic. That's just not the talk in the grocery store line. It's like I'm always giving to somebody else. And I think that while these rules sound great, I don't think it's reality. I think many women feel, especially those who have children and spouses, that they're always giving
because if they
and
do,
expecting a little bit
if they
back.
do, the society has taught them that there's something to feel bad about. They're not good mothers. They're not good wives.
Right.
If they get their hair done, or if they go have a manicure
True.
or something, And for God's sake, you have the right to take care of yourself, especially if that's going to make
Come
you
home with
better.
me, Keith. Come home with me. You're saying all the right
I don't
things.
think your husband would like that. But you have a right to take care of yourself, you know. And
Well,
I'm sure.
but you know, it sounds simple, but I mean, this is a reality. We say these are the rules, but you know what? The thing is, a lot of women feel like I don't have 5 minutes in my day for myself. So I mean, and it does impact your mental health and your stress levels,
Let's
no
talk
doubt.
about the fact that a lot of women think that a man is a plan. In the absence of a life purpose, I'm going to attach myself to someone who actually has one, and then hopefully I'm going to get something from that.
A residual.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy, though. Why do you think?
but
Is
we
it
do it all
is it a
the time.
self-worth issue then? Because we are intelligent, we are strong, we are capable. So what happens? Is it something that men give off to us and say we should be or do, and we role model that?
I think a lot of it just comes from the way we are conditioned.
Right.
My mother gave herself. My mother didn't, know how to put herself first in any instance. So therefore, I'm going to mirror that behavior.
I think we definitely, men too, we learn, in so many ways that, a good woman should be a good appendage. She's like on your arm. She's, she's on the side. She's your trophy. She's, not your partner. Not your equal, definitely not your equal, and we're conditioned in that same way. And so we're both coming into the situation with unhealthy, perspectives.
Well, and aren't we
on this,
perpetuating that? We can't get into it all in this segment, but when we think about the music and the themes in society, you're talking about, women on the arm of a man. I mean, almost everything you see in an ad, in a magazine, or the music we listen to really doesn't describe us as being whole. So hopefully we can continue this discussion when we come right back. That's